Hello, hello. Welcome back to part two of our Tired of Being Tired series. I'm Kat, and here's Angela. And we're so happy that you're joining us again tonight. Hopefully, everybody got to see the replay for part one. And I will just start with our screen and then we can dive in. How are you tonight, Ange?
I am fabulous. How are
Wonderful.
you?
Yeah, I'm equally fabulous. So
Woo!
what do we have for everybody tonight? We've got,
We are going to talk about putting everyone first.
love it, love it. I just need to make my slides work and moving you guys around the screen. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to cover tonight is a little bit about us. Why do we put everybody else first? The latchkey generation, a little bit on attachment styles, the benefit of filling your cup, and then you're going to ask, why did I cross out the word first? Well, we'll deal with that later. Um, how do we do this? Service versus obligation, healthy ways to put yourself first, and then we're just going to close the evening with a little bit of a candle ceremony. So, a great quote I found to start us off tonight is, don't be afraid of losing people. Be afraid of losing yourself by trying to please everyone else around you. I think that really is the essence of what we're going to dive into tonight. Wouldn't you say so, Ed?
Yes.
So tell the lovely people a little bit about you.
Uh, okay. I was born in Toronto and then we moved out to Scarborough. I went to Western, then I transferred to Guelph, where I am right now. And I have my honors BA in psychology and ancient history. I'm a human resources professional by day, and I'm an empowerment dynamic practitioner, which I'm going to talk a little bit about later. Certified life and wellness coach, certified sound healer, certified Abukra healer, which is energy healing. It's an Egyptian method. And my goal is just to bring play back into people's lives because as we get older, we forget how to play. And it's important. It's very important to play. And I love to travel. And these are all going to be tied in at the end.
I love it. So a little bit about myself. Funnily enough, I also grew up in Toronto. And then I did my undergrad at McMaster in Hamilton. I did my master's in Seattle, Washington. My master's is in nutrition. My undergrad's in psych with a minor in spirituality. And then I ended up in Guelph. I always joke and say I came to Guelph for a boy, and I'm still here for a boy, just two different boys. Moved here when I was married, and now I'm still here, single mama-ing my teenage son. Um, what else do I want to tell you today? I think, I wanted to describe what a modern day hedge witch is. You all can read what's on the slide for the rest, but in the ancient times in Europe, there were communities, and communities were always separated by forests. And around the edge of the community was a hedge. And in the forest, just past the hedge, for almost every community, there'd be a wise woman who would live on her own, but she was very much tied to the community. And she would come into the community and help do healing and teachings and just work with the community, most likely birth the babies and help people to transition. And so she equally was part of the community and part of the nature. And that really resonates for how I love to work with my community. I love, love, love people. And then I love, love, love my time away. And then I would say that I am definitely still on the journey of learning how to please myself. I'll talk about a little bit more around that in tonight's presentation.
Just a little bit about who we are. So, Kat and I came from two different places and we converged in Guelph. And we were away on a trip in Mexico and we were sitting on the beach and we were talking about how we wanted to do more with heart-centered women and building a community. And so Sacred Explorers was born. And our purpose is to help women going through life transitions discover the ability to go within, draw on the power at their core, and live their purpose while building connections with like-hearted women. So that is our goal, is just to bring people together in community, to share and help everybody to grow and not feel alone.
Yeah. And I think, the more and more conversations I have with women, the more and more I realize we're all going through the same things. I mean, I was just talking with another friend this week about exactly the same things you and I always laugh about, is like waking up at 3 a.m. and not knowing why the heck you're awake. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us didn't learn about how to be in our late 40s and 50s with our moms. Like we haven't been really prepared to how to transition into this part of our life. And we're all like
Nope.
freaking out on our own. So we really want to really just form a really beautiful community of women who are, like in that phase of life where things are changing, their bodies are changing, their lives are changing, and just demystify or just destigmatize it, I guess would be the best way to
Mm-hmm.
say it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's what we're here for. Shall we dive in?
Shall we? Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so why do we put others first? Well, we need to feel worthy of love and acceptance from others. And this is something that is learned. I mean, when you're a woman and you're a little girl and you watch your mom, and most of us, we watched our parents and our grandparents and our friends' parents, and we watched what they did. And when you're in school, you're always taught girls do this and boys do that. Now it's changing now, but when you look back to when we were in school, it wasn't like that. And so it's a learned behavior. A learned behavior is, well, I have to give to others and I have to put others first because that's the only way that I'm going to get love and acceptance from others. And then for men, it's more of a superhero complex that they have. So men are told that they've got to be strong and they've got to be, the ones that take care of everybody else. And so they're taught, again, put people first. And so all through life, that's what you do. So you get used to it. So you forget about yourself. I mean, maybe not forget about yourself, but you know what I mean. Like you don't focus on your needs. You focus on everybody else's needs first. And of course, that then leads you to being exhausted. And then you're frustrated. And then you start to act out and you start to get tired and some people close in and they just shut down. And so why do you do that? Well, one of the things that I like to teach is about the dreaded drama triangle. And the dreaded I don't even like saying it. The dreaded drama triangle is basically you've got 3 different roles, and all of us will play these roles at different times. And some of us like more roles better than others. Okay, for myself, I know for the longest time I was a rescuer. And because I was a rescuer, my job was always to save people from themselves. I knew what you needed better than you did. And I was going to make sure that you did what you needed to do for me. Not for you, for me. Because it's what I thought you needed. Okay? So the rescuer is the superhero complex. The rescuer is the one that wants to save the world. The persecutor, on the other hand, is the one that blames other people, that tears other people down, that has to make themselves feel better by making people feel worse. And then the victim is the one that feels powerless. So if you look at it as a cycle, if you are someone who has the need to feel needed all the time, then you are definitely going to notice this happening in your life. For example, you're a mom and you see your kid going down a path and you know that this is not going to be good for your child. And so you're then going to start to tell your child what to do and tell your child how to act. Your child is going to turn around and they're going to feel like a victim. Because why is mom picking on me? What did I do? I'm just trying to do this. I'm just trying to get by. I don't understand why mom has a problem with it. And then when the victim doesn't do what the rescuer wants them to do, the rescuer will either switch positions and then become the victim. I don't know why I bother. Nobody listens to me. Nobody cares. Or the rescuer becomes the persecutor. And because the child did it their way and it didn't work out, instead of coaching the child, you're going to turn around and say, see, this is why you should have done it the way I told you to. If you'd done it the way I told you to, none of this would have happened. Okay? And so this is how it perpetuates over and over and over again. And it is exhausting. But the problem is that most people don't even realize what's happening. And so my goal is to help people to understand that there is a better way and there is another way. And that is called the empowerment dynamic. So instead of being a victim, you see other people as a creator. You understand that that person knows what's best for them, and if they don't know what's best for them, they're going to figure it out real quick. And you're going to hold space for that person, and you are going to allow that person to lean on you if they need to, but not rely on you for doing it for them. Okay? So instead of being a rescuer, you're going to take on more of the role of a coach. And the coach, of course, assists, asks questions, and leads people down the path to the answer that's best for them. So can you see the difference between feeling like you have to do everything for everybody, because if you don't do everything for everybody, then you're not going to be worthy, versus, hey, I can still be there for that person, but I don't have to be the one doing everything. I can be there for that person and guide them towards a decision that's right for them, and believe that that decision is right for them. Less stress for you. And you have an opportunity to then step back and say, this is not on me. I don't own this. And that's key, right? And then there's the challenger, and the challenger is the person who believes in them and knows that they can do it and knows that they can grow. And so again, they're going to ask some questions and they're going to put them in uncomfortable positions, knowing that they're going to be okay and knowing that they're going to find their way through it. Not doing it for them, not making them feel guilty, not making them feel bad when they fail, but helping them fail forward. Okay? And one of the things that Kat and I like to do, and it's tied into the retreat that we'll be talking about later, is we like to look at the elements. Because like it or not, the elements are all around us. So if you look at the elements and you look at the elements through the empowerment dynamic, what you're going to see is that the creator energy is fire. It's passion, right? The old gets burned away and you're making room for the new. And then the coach is water, right? Water flows. Water slowly wears things down. You know, if you look at waterfalls and you look at rivers and streams, it's continuous flow, but it's calming and it's soothing, okay? And then you have the earth, and the earth helps you build roots. Like, you need earth to build roots. You need earth to be stable. And that's the energy that the challenger brings. And then the air element ties it all together, because you need air for fire. Oxygen is definitely a key component of water. And then in order for things to grow and develop, you need air. You need the oxygen to give them the fuel that they need to do what they need to do. Okay? So that's how that ties in. And you might say, okay, well, I kind of get it, but like, I still don't really understand why I have the need to do this. Where does this come from, you know? And I think it's important that you understand that the coach, again, you're not responsible for their journey. You have to believe that they know what they're going to do. And it's their journey. It's not yours. It's theirs. So you want them to gain clarity, and you want them to gain the confidence to move forward in whatever direction they choose to go in. Okay? Next. Thank you. So, people in our generation, which is Generation X, can relate to the latchkey. Okay, and maybe you don't know it as latchkey, so I'm just gonna kind of break it down for you. But it's basically two parents are working, you come home from school, you have a key to the house, and you have the responsibility to take care of yourself and potentially to take care of younger siblings until your parents get home. That might include making snacks, it might include doing homework with them, it might include doing extracurricular activities, getting dinner prepped, things like that. So right away from the time that you're like 10, 11, 12, you're already being told that you are responsible for other people. You're not able to do what you want to do after school because you have to take care of your younger siblings. You had to learn to solve problems on your own. There was nobody else to help you. And so it can be overwhelming and frustrating. And so at a young age, you can't freak out on your parents when they come home because your parents are working so that they can put food on the table. So you learn to internalize all of that. And you keep it all inside and you say, okay, I'm frustrated and I'm angry, but I have nowhere to go with this. So I'm just gonna keep it in and I'm just gonna figure out how I'm going to handle it. The problem is that now as parents, it's the opposite, right? So because you were left alone when you were younger, now that you're a parent, you're like, oh no, I can't leave them alone. I can't leave my children alone. I can't have them feeling like I felt. I don't want them to feel like I felt. And so we've gone 180 degrees in the other direction, and we're doing more than we did. Because we feel like we need to do more because we don't want them to feel like we did. And so the other thing that comes with the latchkey generation is the fear of not having enough because both parents had to work and both parents came home tired and both parents were like, well, we can't do this because we don't have enough money, or we can't do that because we don't have enough money. And so you then also develop this fear of not having enough and always having to do more, which leads to being exhausted and frustrated. Okay. And then I'm not going to touch on this a lot because I could talk forever about attachment styles, but basically, again, attachment styles develop through social interaction in childhood. And it's mostly a learned behavior based on your parents or siblings. And it impacts the perception of yourself and the perception of others. So there's 4 main attachment styles. The first one is a secure attachment style. So someone who has a secure attachment style doesn't feel the need to do more for others, doesn't worry about what others think about them, just basically lets people do what they need to do, and they do what they need to do, and everybody's happy. Then you have what's known as the anxious attachment style. The anxious attachment style has a negative model of themselves. What that means is that somebody who has an anxious attachment style always believes that the other person's going to abandon them, the other person's going to leave them, and so therefore they have to do everything in their power to keep that person happy no matter what. Because if they don't, then something bad is going to happen. Because they don't believe that they're good enough just the way they are. Okay? And then you have the avoidant. So the avoidant has a positive model of themselves in the sense that they don't really care about what other people think. However, they avoid people like the plague because they don't want anybody to get too close, because if they get too close, then they could hurt them. So it's all about them and protecting them and taking care of them. So that attachment style is one that doesn't go over and above to help other people. That attachment style is the person that is the lone wolf, the person that does everything on their own instead of doing other for others. They don't ask for help. They get overwhelmed in a completely different way. And then the last one are the fearful avoidant. And the fearful avoidant, they are, unfortunately, they're a big mess because they have a negative model of themselves. So they don't believe they're worthy, but they also don't trust anybody. So they go back and forth. 1 minute they're going to be all over you and they're going to want to help you and they're going to be there for you because they want to feel worthy. And then all of a sudden they're going to step all the way back and say, I don't need you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. They flip flop back and forth. It's one of the hardest attachment styles to build a relationship with. So when we're talking about putting other people first, the one that comes to mind is the anxious attachment style. Okay, so that's the one, and that's, I think, the majority of the population right now actually is the anxious style. Again, because we were the latchkey kids. Again, because that's what we were taught, is the only way that you will get love and respect is if you give to others and you do more for others than you do for yourself. And so it's time now to like become aware of what this is and to know that you're not different from anybody else. Like, this is normal. This is common behavior. But what we want to do is we want to help you understand that and see that, and then help you figure out how to move past that. So that's what we're going to focus on now.
Okay, so how do we go about filling our cup? And so oftentimes you'll hear the quote, like, you can't serve from an empty cup, or fill your cup first before you help other people, or put your oxygen mask on before you help other people. I don't love that explanation. I think it's still, in that sense, it still feels like we're only filling our cup so that we can help other people. And I think that in some strange way is still this attempt to put other people before ourselves. Like, I'm only like worthy of having, self-care because it makes me be a better mom. It makes me be a better partner. It makes me be a better employee. While all of that is absolutely true, having it be the only reason why you are taking care of yourself and moving yourself to the top of the to-do list, I think still plays in that same paradigm of putting other people first. So really sinking into seeing, taking care of yourself, doing things that you love, putting yourself first as a complete sentence, not because you're doing it for anybody else. Yes, other people will reap the benefit, but they're not the point of this learning and healing and exercise that we're on tonight. The other thing I really wanted to touch base on is the role that trauma plays in our need to please other people. So oftentimes you'll hear me talk a lot about trauma. And while, yes, especially women have a huge history of trauma, I really want to define trauma because you'll see that, especially when we put our little kid eyes on and look at things that have happened to us in the past with our little kid eyes and not our grown-up eyes, all of us are coming from a history of trauma, and that's not to move us into that victim component of the dreaded drama triangle. It really is just to help us understand how we're navigating situations in our everyday life today. So trauma really is defined as any experience that happens too fast or is too much for our nervous system to handle all at once. So it can be simply a sibling that talks too much and never gives you your space, or a parent who it gives you the cold shoulder for days because you dropped their favorite cup. It doesn't have to be like what we think of in terms of like physical abuse or sexual abuse or emotional abuse. It really just is anything that happens too quickly or too much for our nervous system to handle. And how does this then fit into grown-ups that people please? So everybody's really familiar with the fight or flight response of stress. And people are starting to be a little bit more familiar with the freeze component of the stress response. But what most people aren't familiar with is the fourth way that we respond to stress, and that's called fawn. So that is absolutely people pleasing. So it comes from being in a position where we don't feel safe, we don't have the strength to fight, we don't have the ability to flee, and we have to do something. We are not in a position where we can completely dissociate and do nothing. So what do we do to keep ourselves safe? We people please. We know that in order to keep ourselves safe, to be liked, to still fit into our family, to, just make everything calm in the family, that if we just do what everybody else wants, then we will have safety. So the first part in learning how to flip around from putting everybody else first to really claiming that ability to put yourself first is recognizing that at this time in your life, it is now safe for you to have your needs met. And that can take a little bit of getting used to. It can feel really weird. Like, I know for me, like sometimes spending money on myself has been really, really challenging. So I will take a friend, oftentimes Angela, to go shopping with me when I'm looking for something new because I have a hard time. Like, not that I don't have the money, I just don't feel worthy of spending the money on myself. And then even the other thing I really notice about people who have a lifelong pattern of putting other people first is they don't even know what pleases them. They don't know what they like. They don't know what they want. Like, they don't know how they want to decorate their house. They don't know what type of clothes they want to wear. They don't know what they love to do, if they like to color or meditate or join a sport. So really just knowing that you're worthy to embark on this journey to find out what you need, and knowing that you can try things and they might not all be a hit. You might be like, you know what? I don't like meditating. You know what? I don't like that painting I just bought for above my couch. And that's all okay. It's part of the journey. Okay, service versus obligation. So we get this question a lot. Is like a lot of people still have a lot of shoulds in their life. So how do you move from a place of obligation to truly serving and helping other people from the goodness of your heart? So the one thing I always like to encourage people is to think about the things they actually like to do. So like, I think a really good example of this would be, say you have a sick friend and they need help. And so you could, out of obligation, show up to look after their kids. But you know what? You don't like kids. So you're going to be doing that out of obligation. You're going to be like, these kids, they're loud. They want to play games. I have no clue how to play with them. And you could be miserable the whole time you're there. Or you could also realize that the other thing your friend needs help with is like food, and you love to cook. So showing up at their doorstep with a basket full of pre-cooked meals, or even like signing them up for like a grocery, like a pre-made meal service, or something that really allows you to like love them up with something that you actually love doing too. That's how you do service with an open heart. That's how you take care of other people, like from a really pure and beautiful place, and not the whole time you're there, you're like, oh, this sucks. Why am I here? The other thing I think that's really, really important is being able to step into gratitude. There are times in our lives where we are, sometimes helping people and we do love them, but what they really need is help. And like, I was over at a friend's house, they were moving, they really needed help just with the last minute cleaning of their house. I don't particularly love cleaning, but you know what? I was really, really grateful to be able to show up and to be able to really give my friend what they needed. So as I was driving over, like I just said, like, I'm really grateful to be well enough, to have enough energy, to have enough strength to be able to show up and to serve in this way. And so even when it's not a job that you may particularly have wanted to sign up, I would have much rather showed up with a basket full of home cooked food. That's me. I'm that person. But that's absolutely not what they needed. So I just gave gratitude while I was driving over there. And then I guess the last question we get a lot is, what if it's something that we can't shift out of obligation? And this for me is definitely a personal experience. I loved my mom and dad for sure, but they did always feel like an obligation to me. And as an only child, I wasn't in the position where I could be like, see ya, I'm going to let my brother deal with you. And I also, as much work as I did, I really did struggle to just shift out of like just showing up in ways that fed me. Um, so I think for me, it took a lot of gratitude, a lot of tapping into my heart, and a lot of just like prayer and also like making sure that I had something beforehand and afterwards that would help me move that like any if there was any like trauma that came up from my relationship with my parents, move that out of my body, and just a way to really just shift perspectives and try to see it as a gift of love, and understanding that my parent like the obligation I felt with my parents was oftentimes just them struggling with unhealed wounds of their own, and that, they weren't in a position to do the healing that I had done. So just really being able to just give them the time, the space, and the presence that I had wished that they had been able to give me as a kid. So hopefully that helps a little bit with that line between service and obligation. Ooh, how to put yourself first. So, some healthy ways to do that. The first one I have on there is called what I love to call self-devotion. So the way I look at this is self-devotion includes healthy self-care and also healthy self-responsibilities. So looking at what your needs truly are, looking at how you need to take care of yourself from more of that softer side. Like I am going to be really busy taking care of the kids this week, or helping that friend move, or helping cook for my parents. So I'm going to make sure I book a massage at the end of the week, or I'm going to make sure I have a really nice quiet night before it all gets busy. But also the self-responsibility. So when you are under pressure to take care of people, just making sure that what you actually need, like your non-negotiables, like taking your supplements, getting your workouts in, eating healthy, that you still hold yourself responsible for that for yourself. So maybe it is doing a little bit of meal prep before things get really busy so you can pull healthy meals out of the fridge. So yeah, just balancing that, being really gentle to yourself, but also making sure that you're getting the things that you know you need to do in first. Like I said, a lot of people who have a life of putting other people first, they don't even know what brings them joy. So experimenting and starting really small, because the last thing we want to do is make finding joy, finding pleasure, finding how to take care of yourself something that actually triggers your trauma. So even if it's just something really tiny, like taking a friend to buy a new painting for your house or a new shower curtain, start tiny like that. Pick up a coloring book. Remember what you used to do, like to do when you were a kid. Which I also find interesting because many of us who were overly scheduled as kids, when people say, remember what you like to do as a kid, we didn't always even have the opportunity to do what we liked as kids. So it might be you're just starting from scratch. Like, hey, I always wanted to learn how to salsa dance, so I'm going to sign up for lessons. And then just remembering to shift that paradigm away from life should be hard. That one was really role modeled for a lot of us by our parents. And so really, like, I get to show up for my friends and help them out. I get to, take my kid to their soccer practice. And you know what? I don't love sitting in the arena watching my kid play hockey, but I'm going to pick up a really yummy hot drink on the way so that I can at least be fed that way. I think learning how to say no is a big one. And knowing that no is a complete sentence. So sometimes when we're used to really people pleasing, just saying, I'm sorry, that time doesn't work for me, or I'm sorry, I'm not able to do that. Then we start to kind of be like, but maybe I could do it 2 weeks from now. And I'm, oh, my shoulder, I can't really lift anything, but, maybe I could. No, like if the answer's no, the answer's no. So that's all you need to give people. They don't need the backstory around why you can't do it. And then the other practice that I think for anybody who has control of their schedule, if you work in a business where you see clients or you schedule your own meetings, trying on things that I call integration weeks or integration days. And these are just days where you are not available to the outside world. It's not that you don't work, but you save up like the things that you can do quietly behind the scenes for those types of days. So you can just close your door, work at your own pace, not have to be in front of people. So even if you just work on an integration afternoon or an integration morning, if you can do a full day, great. And that can really be a great way to put yourself first in your work life. Angela, would you like to share some of these takeaway tools for folks?
Okay. So some of the other takeaway tools that we sort of brainstormed were plan a date with yourself. Take yourself out. And that could be anything. It could be, you know what, take yourself out for a walk and stop at your favorite coffee shop and grab a beverage. And you don't have to stay at the coffee shop if you're not comfortable sitting by yourself, because some people aren't. But buy the beverage, enjoy the beverage, and go for a walk. If you don't have a problem being by yourself, take yourself to the movies. Take yourself out for dinner. Just schedule a block of time that is just for you to take care of you. And then tied into what Kat was talking about previously, when you talk about your personal devotion, your self-devotion, it's start each day. Like for me, it's 45 minutes that I spend every morning, but it didn't start off as 45 minutes. It started off as less. It started off as 20 minutes, and now it's expanded to 45 minutes. So the first 45 minutes of my day is devoted to journaling and intentions and meditation, because that works for me. That helps put me in the proper space so that I can then go out and do what I need to do. Set boundaries without guilt. So tied into what Kat was saying, say no. No is okay. It's okay to say no. You don't have to say no and give them a whole story about why it's no. That's not going to work for me. I'm sorry. Bye. That's it. You know what? You don't even have to say I'm sorry if you don't want to. You know? No, that's not going to work for me. Done. The other thing that I think is important is when you figure out what it is that you love to do and what it is that lights you up, and like Kat said, you might have to experiment a little bit to figure this out because you haven't been doing it for very long, or maybe not even at all. For some of you, you're going, I don't even know where to begin, right? But once you get that to that point, make yourself small little goals. So let's say you decide that you want to learn how to dance. So tied into salsa, right? You talked about salsa earlier, so let's tie that in. So I want to learn how to salsa dance. So what's your first goal? Find a class. Right? That's your first goal. Find a class. Second goal, sign up for the class. Third goal, show up for the class, right? They're small little goals, but they're bringing you closer and closer to where you want to be. You don't have to rewrite the whole story. You start
Buy
with
new
a
shoes.
page at a
Buy
Pardon?
buy new shoes if you're gonna learn salsa,
Right?
right?
I can help you with the shoes. And then the other thing that's important, I think, too, is to use your voice to communicate your needs. So tied into setting boundaries without guilt, you also need to tell people people cannot read your mind. They don't know what you need. You know what you need, and you know what you need from others. And you have to tell people. It's important. And then practice gratitude, which we covered. And move your body. Move your body every day. Kat and I started something called the Sweaty Selfie Society. So you can reach out to either one of us if you want to learn more about that. And the goal of that is, again, no judgment. It's just people coming together in community who want to have people hold them accountable in a loving, supportive way by just showing up. And you decide what you want to do. So our goal is to move our body at least 20 minutes a day, and that can be in any way, shape, or form. It could be a walk, it could be dancing, it could be horseback riding. We have someone that's what she does. She rides a horse, right? So move your body because it will help with the endorphins. It will help make you feel better. Fuel your body properly. Eating a bag of chips on a regular basis, not helpful. And try and get sufficient sleep. All of these things will help you feel better about yourself. And as you start to feel better about yourself, then you're actually able to set boundaries without guilt. You're able to create goals and be able to communicate your needs more effectively because you realize your worth. And then again, at the end of the day, you know what? Hey, I signed up for that class. Woo! Celebrate your wins. No matter how small, you're still moving forward.
I love that. Love it, love it. Okay, so just to close tonight, we wanted to do a little fire ceremony, just to give you a bit of a flavor about, we're really big on bringing the magic into the work that we do, and we wanted to share that with you. So make sure you grab a candle, and we're just going to light it. And then I just want you to stare at the flame while I lead you through this little exercise. Okay. So gazing into the flame of your candle, I want you to take 3 breaths at your own pace. And as you inhale, I want you to inhale that light from the flame. And as you exhale, I want you to exhale any worries, any judgments, Any concerns that you aren't doing this right, that you're not doing enough, anything that's circulating in your mind from your day, just want you to exhale anything that is cluttering up your mind. So inhale light, exhale worry. Inhale light, exhale stress. Inhale light, exhale every thought that's keeping you from being present. Now take a moment to give gratitude for the element of fire. We thank the element of fire for its creative spark, its passion, its desire to help us be more playful. We thank the element of fire for its warmth and its comfort. And now, staring at that flame, I want you to picture little you, maybe about 6 years old, just dancing inside that flame of your candle. She's happy, she's free, she's full of fire, she's full of creativity. And she happens to notice you watching her. And she gives you a cute little grin. And you ask her, what could I do today to put you first? What could I do today to help you play? What could I do today that would make your heart sing? And just take a few moments here to see what she has to say to you. And giving her a little hug and committing to doing one of the things that she's asked of you. You say goodbye to little you, knowing that by simply coming back to this candle practice, you can reconnect with the spark, the light, the joy of little you at any time. And as she just disappears into the flame, dancing away, you bring that spark, that joy, that freedom of her into your own heart, giving so much gratitude for yourself and your ability to make these changes, to put yourself first, to learn how to step back into your joy and into play. We thank the element of fire. And as we blow out our candle, we know that this joy, this spark, this creativity can be ignited in us each time we come back to light this candle. And it is so, and it is so, and it is so. Our sacred candle service is complete. So yeah, just a little ceremony that you could do easily first thing in the morning, just to anchor you into how to bring more joy, how to put yourself first in your day. I hope you enjoyed that. So, if folks are wanting to work more deeply with us, Angela, what have we got coming up?
Whoa. Um, we actually have pulled together an amazing, amazing retreat in beautiful Costa Rica, and we will be hosting you lovely people at the end of January. So it'll be January 27th to February 4th, and we will be doing a lot of playing. We will be doing a lot of ceremonies like we just had. We will be connecting with heart-centered women and working through a lot of what we're talking about in these seminars. We're going to be delving more deeply into on the retreat. This is sort of a taste, it's sort of an introduction, but there's a lot more behind this. And I think it's important that if for you to take time for you and to join us and do this for yourself, because at the end of the day, like Kat said, you can't fill from an empty cup. Well, that's not really what she said, but but the reality is that, again, as you start to feel more comfortable and confident about who you are, you'll be able to show up better for others. And that's really what we want for you in this retreat.
Yeah. And then also added to our ceremonies, I also have had a long practice with ceremonial cacao. Ange and I run a monthly in-person ceremony now. And so we'll be bringing the heart opening medicine of cacao to this retreat as well. It's just such a beautiful way to sit in circle with sisters, open up our hearts. And like I said at the beginning, so many of us are going through such similar things in isolation and, sitting in circle on a beach in Costa Rica with a beautiful cup of cacao. It's just going to be a way to tap back into your magic, find out what you love, learn how to work with the elements, what their strengths are, how to incorporate that into your daily life. It's just going to be such a beautiful week.
I'm excited.
Me too. Me too. So we have some early bird pricing available. So make sure you check out sacredexplorers.com to get signed up. Obviously, if you've got any more questions, reach out to either one of us. And we can't wait to be in long-term, week-long ceremony with you all.
Yes.
Um,
Our
so
private beach.
So as always, we're going to stop the recording now to head into our question period. Please remember to join us for part 3, which is Tired of Feeling Disconnected, next Thursday, September 28th at 7:30 p.m. And for those of you catching the replay, if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out and we can answer them just in email or on Instagram or wherever you know how to reach us. So have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you at the next webinar.